Hello, everybody. What is going on? We are live, and this is FSP. How are you doing? We are back after a week off, and just lots of busyness and holidays stuff and playing games. We're back with you. So thank you for tuning in to FSP. And as always, I am joined by the amazing Fuzzy Belvedere. What's up, Fuzzy? How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. And yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Just been playing. We played some Halo today. I got we
Nice.
checked out the ending of Chapter 2 of Fortnite. It was a live event today, so we did that. That was fun. And yeah, just probably gonna play some more Halo later. What have you been playing?
Oh, well, you know me. Forza Horizon 5
Yeah,
has been pretty much my stomping ground for the past couple of weeks. Having a few, bugs and glitches here and there, but they're getting things patched up.
yeah,
And other than that, me trying to, finish the end game of all the accolades and stuff like that. That's more of a me problem than them problem.
yeah.
But have still having tons of fun, and there's still a few like jumps and speed traps you guys got me beat on, so I gotta do some work on some of my cars to catch up.
Yeah, dude. I kind of want to get into that too, but then Halo always calls me. And you know what? Like, okay, I got something to say. When they redid the dailies,
Hmm.
you know, to where we're getting more XP for the dailies. Now I feel like I need to log in to do my dailies, which I didn't ever care about before. But like
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out on that XP. So they got me there. Um Key's been busy, guys. Now Key has had a schedule change at work. He has been working like 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. like every day. And like the fact that he's even here now, right now, hanging out with us, I'm just super grateful. Fuzzy's retired. He can just do whatever the hell he wants now. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding, but
Fuzzy could get on like 3 in the morning if he wants to.
yeah,
Yeah. The wife might have something to say about it, but
you made it so. You just start podcasting from bed. She wakes up and hear your thoughts on Spartacus. Um, why you keep talking about Spartacus, Fuzzy? Um,
Right.
hey, what's up, Key? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm tired. So much been going on this week, between work and meetings and doing that. Then I purchased a new computer. Then I took it back because I got an amazing deal on Cyber Monday.
Yeah,
So it's like between sleep and work, I've been trying to hook up the computer so I can get back to streaming and dropping videos. And it's just been crazy, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys for not replacing me.
oh, it never, bro.
I'm here.
Um, yeah, dude, love having you here, man. So like, dude, it's just real life stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we all got to deal with it. I was telling Fuzzy like about this time I worked at this electronics store, Fry's, and we were setting up a new store, and that was like crazy, like at the time, because like I think I put in like 90 plus hours for a few weeks in a row, and it was just like
Mhm.
insane. And like you can't do anything. Like when it gets like that, you don't have a life. It's just work, pass out. You know what I mean?
That's
So
it. That's me. Work, come home, kiss my wife, say hi to the kids, and bed.
yeah, yep,
That's it. That's but you know what? It's bad, but it's not too bad
yeah.
because um yeah, I don't have a reason to even say it's not too bad. It's just bad. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Let's be real. It sucks.
Let's
Um,
just be real about it.
yeah. But hey, chat. Thank you for being here. As well. It's always interesting when you come back from like a week off because you get like 2 weeks. 2 weeks feels like a long time. You know what I mean? So shout out to Matt Byrnes, Spudatron, uh, and I see John TJ as well as Shizno. And speaking of John TJ, thank you, sir, for the $5 super chat. Says hi Mav and panel. This is going to be a fire show. I think it will be as well because we got some big topics. You may have heard a little bit of some of these topics on some of the other shows this week, but hey, we're gonna get into it here because I haven't had a chance to talk to Fuzzy or Key and get their thoughts on either of these things, which I know is going to be a very interesting topic. So we're gonna start off with Spartacus, of course, because we all saw this coming, or for the most part. I'm not gonna say everybody because there's been those weird, strange people out there that just like want to live in like this alternate universe of whatever makes them happy. But there's the reality of the PlayStation was going to have to figure out something to do with their subscription services in order to try and keep up with Game Pass. And I remember a few months back, we saw an interview with Jim Ryan where he's pretty much said that there's more to come in the future. They are working on their answer to Game Pass, right? And I think the leak that came out yesterday from Jason Schreier, Bloomberg report, pretty much is the starting vision of what that is, right? I've seen some people say it's not a competitor to Game Pass. And in some aspects, that's correct, because without day and date games, which has been alluded to that there's not going to be day and date games, you can't directly compete to Game Pass, but this is supposed to be PlayStation's attempt. And it's like they got one foot in the water with they're afraid to take that second foot in by putting their games day and date in the service, right? So they're going to try and see what they can do to rebrand and get rid of the name PlayStation Now, as well as offer more value than they currently had before via tiers. And I think it's the start of something that is going to be interesting to see what they can create. So the way it's structured, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fuzzy, on this, because I know you've probably been looking up at this, but there's 3 tiers, right?
Mhm.
There's the bottom tier is basically you got your PlayStation Plus benefits, right?
Yeah.
The second tier, you get PlayStation 4 games, a lot of them,
Mhm.
and some PlayStation 5 games to come. And in the third tier, they're adding in backward compatibility for PS1, PS2, PS3 games, as well as game streaming, which why I think that is included is because that is probably what's going to be used to play the PS1, PS2, and PS3 games, as well as potentially other things as are going to be part of this tier. Now that's where I think it gets interesting. And there's been a lot of debate. Some say that, hey, there will never be day and date games. Some say that there's going to be some. There's going to be potentially more multi-plat games dropping the service. Potentially those could be day and date. I'm curious, like what do you think of this? I'll start with Fuzzy here. Like, what do you think of this as the vision for their answer? Do you think it's enough, or do you think we need to hear more details and figure out what it's going to be? Where do you stand on it?
I'm really looking forward to a little more details as far as like compared to like currently I have a PS Plus subscription and a PS Now subscription,
Mm-hmm.
and what bigger advantages besides the backwards compatibility that they're going to offer. Like right now, you can get both services. Like retail wise is around 120 a year. It's 60 for PS Plus for the year and 60 for PS Now for the year. Are they going to combine them and make it 100 for this tier 3, or is it going to be tier 3 at 120 and you get the add-on of the PS1, 2, and 3 backward compatibility? And they've been running, to my understanding, some experimental trials in like the UK where they're doing like a mixture of music and TV bundled into like a PS Plus type package. So I'm wondering if that might work its way into this as well. But overall, it's good to finally see that this is being combined. There was talk way back when PS Now first came out that, oh yeah, this will be like an add-on to PS Plus kind of thing. And to wait until now to kind of do this seems a little drawn out. But I think there will be day and date games, but they may not be like the quote unquote, bangers. I doubt your God of War or your next Last of Us, if there's another Last of Us, will be in that service day and date, except for maybe like the factions multiplayer. But I do have a
What
strong.
if they like restrict that to this service?
If they restrict that to the service where you get that access on the tier 3, or it's only in the tier 3 type service, I could see a lot of people begrudgingly moaning and groaning, kicking and fighting, signing up for the service if they don't already have PS Plus and PS Now, just to at least play something like Factions, because I know that there's enough demand out there that people are going to want that. And if they have to go through some sort of like paywall service to kind of get to it, I think a good bit of them will. They may make a few side comments, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them that will sign up for it. As far as me, it would require something a little bit more tempting for me. But I think my big prediction on this whole deal on the day and date stuff, I'm thinking Ben Studios' new IP might be the first guinea pig as far as a Sony first party day and date, because there's no mention of that, and that being the biggest benefit to Game Pass. I don't know if they're going to go that route, because they've said publicly, with their current CEO and previous one, who still makes comments on it not being sustainable. They've made comments before that it's not something that's in the cards financially just yet, just because of the costs of that they've invested in the games. But I can foresee them trying a newer IP, because new IP is always risky if they're going to hit or miss. And like with Days Gone, it hit, but it didn't hit the way they expected, I guess, because they wanted a higher rating for it and maybe a few more sales than what they got. But it performed well or acceptable for most studios, but for a Sony studio, it underperformed, I guess. And I could see them saying, okay, your next one, we'll test this out. We'll go ahead and put that new IP in this service. It'll be like a launch day and date type of thing. So that way there's no like carrot above their heads based on like a score or anything like that. They could probably use something similar with the Microsoft engagement numbers to kind of base the success on whether that venture for that new IP is worthwhile for them. But it's pretty interesting.
There's one key aspect that's I think is a detriment, and I want Key's opinion on this, right? So most of the current PlayStation exclusives are big single player games, right? So if you are to, let's say, sign up for a service that has those, right, even if they're not new, right, even if they wait 6 months or whatever to drop them in there, you could potentially just subscribe for a month and play through these games and unsubscribe currently, right? So do you think they need to add like more multiplayer focused experiences for a subscription service like this to work? And then the other thing is, if they do, would it make sense to at that time put those multiplayer experiences in their day and date, because that it's going to help out the player pool? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, because I didn't read too much about it, but the way it sounds to me, what they need to do, because it's not like at the end of the day they're trying to compete with Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I don't think they need to compete with Game Pass, because all you're gonna do is copy Game Pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys gonna need something else. Like, it's not just about first party games. You gonna need some multiplayer, some. One thing I really enjoy about Game Pass is the fact of not just the amount of games that's in there, but the variety of games, especially indie games. This year has been incredible with indie games. Incredible. People out here saying certain games are game of the year, and it's an indie game. So I think they need to focus on trying to expand whatever they get going now. it's gonna be nice to play, Twisted Metal and Metal Gear and all that again. But you still need to bring something else to the table. I think so, at least. You know. But again, I don't think they need to compete with Game Pass because they're gonna copy Game Pass. I think they need to do something different.
Yeah. So what if they
They
use
need
their
to
like
use
Sony media stuff, right? Like, okay, they bought Crunchyroll, right?
Crunchyroll. Yep.
They got the Sony movies, right? But the weird thing is they
Yep.
removed the movies and TV storefront off the PlayStation. So what if that was okay? They removed that storefront. The next goal is to offer the library not via storefront,
Yeah.
but via subscription.
And even today, because then that's going to be, I think that'll be an issue with pricing now because a lot of people are not interested. Well, I take that back because now they got the last of Us coming out with that's going to be on HBO, right? That part of HBO,
Yeah,
the
I think
Last of Us.
so.
Okay, so that's going to be big just off the name alone, you know. So maybe they could do something by them having their own studio. Maybe they could potentially do something kind of like what Netflix doing, start making their own little series and stuff like that, and just have it part of that subscription. But again, I think that'll be a problem because a lot of people are not going to want to sign up for it to watch this stuff when you could go to HBO Max, or you're already paying for HBO Max, or you're already paying for cable, and you just turn to the HBO on the TVs. So I think that'll cause an issue. Crunchyroll, I think that was a big thing. I'm an anime lover. I see more people becoming anime lovers. So it's like, I think that would be a hit, especially that could tie in the price to however much they're going to charge for the service. I think that would be incredible. Do they have any type of music service going on? I mean, I know for a while, they had whatever where you could play your Spotify on there. I think
Yeah, I think they still got
over
that and Pandora tomorrow and all that stuff.
Yeah, so maybe they can, prop well, because Xbox do that all the time. They give out free months of Spotify. So, maybe PlayStation could do something with Pandora, or again, start up their own little service, because it will benefit that particular bundle versus just doing a standalone. I think so, but I don't know. Like, I can't see me paying high tier price just to play the game. The games, like I'm not going to use all these other services. Like, I want to get on here and play Twisted Metal. I want to play SoulCom, Cypher Filter, things like that. I don't want to get on here, play that, then watch a movie, then listen to music and this and that. Like, I feel like if they go that route, then they doing what Xbox did when Xbox One came out. They focusing more on the media side. If they go that route, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, where they're gonna go with it. I gotta address this. Holy crap! Super chat. Hey, John TJ. I don't know if you meant to drop $200 in here, but if you did, I super appreciate it. If you didn't, let me know. But that's like beyond, absolutely beyond generous. Super appreciate you, sir. And John TJ says with that $200 says, it's going to be sickening if they lock all PS1 titles behind just that service. Sounds like that's what's going on. Microsoft has it done right. If you own an old game, it works on the new Xbox. It's nice they are trying for a change, because if they stayed in their old ways, they would have become a publisher. I think it's too late. Yeah, and again, appreciate you, man. Yeah, to what you're saying, TJ, it's like, this is really, to me right now, there's not any details that differentiate this service other than restructuring what they're already doing, because they already have PS games in PlayStation Now via streaming. They already have PS4 games in PlayStation Now that you can download. They already have a lot of these features and stuff. They already have PS Plus. It seems like to me this is more about trying to get rid of the name PS Now and rebrand it and add in tiers. That way they can potentially add things into the tiers that could potentially sell the service over time. And they're going to need to find ways to implement more value to get people to subscribe, because without day one games, that's like the main thing. That's the main value of Game Pass, right? Like without that, you're not ever going to have a straight competition. So you have to, if you aren't willing to do that, you have to figure out other ways that make it really enticing. So that's why I'm bringing up the media aspect, because do y'all remember this show that they had on PlayStation Plus? So they offered it for free for PlayStation Plus members, and it was called Powers.
Yeah.
And they've already like all of these things that we talk about. It's weird because PlayStation has already dipped their toe into so many different things, but they've never like fully like went all in on this, right? Like they've never went all in. Like they did the cloud stuff, they did the remote play to the handheld device with Vita, right? They did the they were the first ones to have cloud. They had PS TV, right? They had a PlayStation View. They had all of these different things that they've kept dabbling in and trying and experimenting and seeing what they're doing. And one thing they've done well with is PS Plus, right? PS Plus, they've had really good games drop in there. And then when they give you the free games, when you get a PS5, you got like 10 games or whatever. But PS Now was, if you look at PS Now and you look at Game Pass, they got to be looking at that and being like, man, we really screwed up, because like they're killing it with Game Pass, and we got this service that it was our idea first, and we just can't succeed with it. So what do we need to do? So first off, you ditch the name PS Now, you rebrand it,
Right.
you add in tiers. That way you can figure out ways to add services to different tiers, right? And I think that's why they're doing that off the jump.
Let me ask you then, because okay, this is well, I guess the way it was put out, this is to compete with Game Pass. So therefore, if you think of Game Pass, you have Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
And the Ultimate, of course, a better bang for your buck. You know, extra $5 if you're a PC game, you get that. Of course, you get Xbox Live, all that jazz with that, you know, but it's still surrounded by games. What do PlayStation need to do to have anything to compete with that on top of still staying within a reasonable price? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For me, they gotta add. I don't know. That's the one thing like that where people keep saying like the Xbox is so uniquely capable of doing this because they got they're Microsoft, right? And they got Azure, right? So like in order to power this new service, I'm pretty sure that Azure deal that they finally is going to finally come into play, right? That one that we heard about before, because I believe they've been using AWS still up until this point, so this may be part of that shift, and maybe the cloud streaming for PS1, PS2, and 3 games is going to be better than it was. But like still, even to that point, even the back compatibility alone, even if it's tied behind the service, that's one flaw. Number two, you're not having FPS boost to it. You're not having resolution boost to OG PS1 games like Xbox has with Xbox games, which would actually be equivalent to PS2 games. So you'd have res boost on PS2 games. Then the auto HDR, all of these enhancements to make the old games better. Instead, the actual old games are only available via streaming. So that's another detriment, right? Compared to Xbox and Game Pass, right? And then the variety, you know, so that's to me, like that part, unless they can really invest and figure out and make backward compatibility a priority, the third tier doesn't matter to me.
Right.
The only difference can be is if they add variety and have games in there at least close after launch. Now, but that's a detriment to them too, because they're selling their games for $70. They've hard capped that, right?
Yeah.
All of our games are $70, right? That's pretty much what they decided, even when they put Destruction All-Stars for $70, right? That was the craziest thing I have ever seen, is when they announced the price for Destruction All-Stars was going to be $70. That's just like oblivious to what the game is, right? So then they quickly flipped on that, put it in PS Plus, and then dropped the price right after. So it was like a soft correction, you know, like a oops, let's kind of hide this, right? So it's like can they afford to not sell as many games of their first party titles and have them in a service when all of their first party titles are single player games for the most part? That's the key, is variety. So we'll see. What do you know?
I'm thinking that the driving factor is going to be figuring out that sweet spot for pricing for the service versus how many current subscribers they have to PS Plus. Because I think PS Plus, if I'm not mistaken, is beyond 45 million. It's probably closer to, I guess, 60 million. So a good chunk of their PS4 owners, or even most of their PS5 owners, are subscribed. So if
it was like 50 million a couple years ago, I think. So it's probably closer to 60.
Yeah. So if they can convert all of them to kind of maybe give another $20 or $30 for like this PS Now add-in, like make the combined service under 100, or make it around $79.99 or something like that for the year.
I think
that might help them, but I think the pricing is going to be the determining factor, because right now you can get PS Now for the year retail is 60 and PS Plus is 60, but everybody knows there's like Black Friday deals and deals throughout the year where it's like 25 for the year for PS Plus sometimes, and I would say like you can pretty consistently find it for like around 45 for the year for PS Plus, but there's sometimes where it's less than that. So if they can keep it below, then maybe they have a better attach rate on the subscriptions overall. But that's I guess their only real play at that point, is to try to get as close to 100 million of their user base to be subscribed to something more than just PS Plus, or at least be subscribed to PS Plus.
Yeah.
I think well, first off, I think they need to, if they're going to come out with this service, I think they need to, like you said, just can everything else. PS Now, get rid of it. PS Plus, get rid of it. Tie it all into this one. The PlayStation PC thing, put that in there with it, of course.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately what would sell the most is the backwards compatible. That will get people to jump on board, especially for our group, our age group,
See, that's where I'm like, the one thing I'm wondering with that key, because I like back compat, right? But that's right. They already offer that. You know what I mean? In PS Now.
Yeah, but it's still so many games out there that they can add on to it.
Yeah, like more.
So many games. And I get it, it's all about, paying the right amount, trying to get these companies to jump on board, for the rights to add it on. Like I get it's a lot of paperwork behind the scenes, but I just feel like, man, if they can just crush it from PlayStation 1 to current, and have a larger amount of games added on to it.
Because they got a ton. You go back in that library, PS1, PS2, PS3, I mean, especially the PS2 era. I mean,
right,
there's so many, dude, and so many classics. I mean, you're right on that, but like, how do they implement it in the right way? That's the key, to make them worthwhile. You know what I mean?
But they gonna have to figure it out day one, if you think about it, because again, if this is a quote unquote competing with Game Pass, when Game Pass came out, everybody was like, "Oh, Game Pass, I wonder what he's at." They looked through the list, was like, "Oh, this has some good selections." Like compared then to now, and you go on Game Pass, and it's like, man, there's all type of games on here. Get on the PC. Oh man, I can play this on the PC now, or this Age of Empires. They dropped all them on it. It's like things like that. So they need to come hard if this is going to work, because you can't come with a 2-3 year old Game Pass plan thinking it's going to compete with Game Pass today. Like they're gonna have to come with something really hard. That's just me in my opinion. People gonna, and of course it's gonna sell well because PlayStation. Just like when the PS5 came out, we already knew PS5 was going to sell better than Xbox at the moment, because people out there have more PlayStations and fell in love with PlayStation, so therefore they want to continue playing with PlayStation. Xbox, they had to sell themselves, which they did pretty well. And now I feel like the table has turned. Like Sony, they need to come out with something, sell this service to make people jump on it immediately. And I think they need to get rid of PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus, add it all in one bundle, drop it for like a 10, lowball it, $10, $10 a month. You ain't got to do 15 or 20. Lowball it, $10 a month. Sell it. So people gonna buy it. You get the people out there. You have, how many PlayStation 4s still floating around in the world?
Yeah.
There's
a lot.
So
that's the other key with the PS4. Like, will you, like, if that's what it is, right? Is that enough for you to subscribe, you think?
For me, if I had to subscribe just based off of first party games, then no, I want to subscribe to it, because right now that's what my PlayStation is used for. PlayStation 4 and 5 was always first party games. Everything else is on my Xbox. For me, they need to come out hard with the backwards compatible for me to be like, day one service, I'm on it. Like this is it. So I don't know. I'm very curious about it. I'm anxious for more information. I know it's gonna be a minute, because I'm quite sure what we're talking about they already thought about, or at least I hope so. But yeah, in order for me to jump on it day one, I need a large back compatible library day one for a great price.
What about you, Fuzzy? What would it take to get you to subscribe to this service? I mean, is it already? It's sounding like it's there, or you need more?
It's kind of close.
Fuzzy about to play all the Gran Turismo. It's there. It's there
for him. So for me, it does has its advantages, because I've already handed off my PS3 to my son to play NCAA football on. I think the pricing has to be just right. I would like to see day and date. I know that's probably not going to be a thing, but if they can't do day and date, at least make it so some of these games, especially the ones that are destined to come to PC, it's like a dual entitlement type of thing, like what Xbox does and Microsoft does now. If they do that, then the dual entitlement alone will probably be worth it for me to sign up. But it's got to be cheaper than what I'm paying for PS Plus and PS Now. So it's got to be under 120 a year. If they do day and date, they could go all the way up to 180, and at that point I'll be like, oh, I'm probably going to buy 2 or 3 $70 games, so this will be saving me money at that point.
That's it right there. That's a key word need to be day to day. Like y'all can't just be like, hey, we're gonna put God of War, Horizon, Gran Turismo, we're gonna put it all on here, but you have to wait 6 months. Spider-Man 2, we're gonna put it on here, but you have to wait 6 months. People not gonna do that. People gonna be like, what? I'd rather just go buy the game, because I've been waiting for this game. This is the reason I fell in love with PlayStation. I need this game the day it releases.
Yeah, that's like me for Gran Turismo. Like I want to be able to wait, you know,
Yeah.
6 months for that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they need to figure that out and not make it like they don't need to treat their PlayStation service like a PlayStation PC service. Like, we know y'all don't want PC games day one, but it's coming, down the road. But for the platform PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, the one that's making y'all money now, that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all need to make these games day one, period.
Mhm.
Because y'all get some hot Wolverine. Ain't no way in hell I'm about to wait 5-6 months to play Wolverine. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely not.
dude. But how many people would subscribe to the service if they dropped Wolverine in their day one?
I would
Correct.
say it would be a 1-to-1 ratio. Probably
It's-
every PS5 sold,
Yeah.
yeah, they're signing up for that service.
So
Every
like, why won't
PS4.
they go all in on this, right? Like, because all right, so you look at the free to play model, okay, with gaming, okay,
Mhm.
low barrier of entry, nothing, okay. Like Fortnite, revenue is insane in that game, right? They make a killing, right? Um, Game Pass is crazy successful for Xbox, right? And the potential there for PlayStation is more than for Xbox because of the library, right? They have this, like you were saying, Key, they have this PS1, PS2, PS3 library. They have these huge franchises. They have some of the best developers in the world, right? And without going all in on it, you're taking away the biggest benefit, which for me, with Game Pass, over anything else, is value. Because
Yep.
it saves me money. I'm a fool if I don't subscribe to Game Pass personally, because it would cost me more not to be a Game Pass member, right? Like, if they don't offer that, that's what doesn't sell me on something, right? So, for example, right, I was gonna buy Halo Infinite. I was gonna buy Forza Horizon 5. I would have bought Psychonauts 2. I would have bought my Flight Simulator, right? I would have bought Back for Blood. I mean, how many games is that? Just I named like rambled 5 or 6 off of the top of my head, right?
That's $300+ at a minimum.
Just like in what, a few seconds of me talking, right? I could go on and probably name you 20 other games I would have bought this year, right? That had it not been in Game Pass day one, right? So
Yeah.
I personally, because of my gaming habit and the way I play games, it saves me a fortune, right? It saves me so much money, and these Xbox first party games don't leave, right? So I am invested into the service because it makes financial sense value wise, right? And if a service is an extra, if a service is just an extra thing to get, that is cool. You're less likely to to get as many people to subscribe because, okay, like I would say things like Netflix and things like that have become at this point essential, especially if you've cut cable, right? And you're only relying on streaming services for content. Because that's your content day one. They give you all the episodes right away. You know what I mean? For most of them. And then like Disney Plus has become essential for me. It's my only place to get those shows like Hawkeye, right? HBO Max has become essential this past year because they were dropping those movies day one, right? I didn't have to go to the theater during COVID, and it also pay like extra money. Like I already had it, right? But it became essential. PlayStation Plus without PlayStation, whatever they're going to call it, Spartacus, will not be essential until they have day and date content.
Because y'all don't even have PlayStation Plus. I pay for PlayStation Plus when I'm about to play a multiplayer.
No, I have PlayStation Plus. I've been a PlayStation Plus member for years because it's not. It was for multiplayer, but it was for those free games as well.
Yeah.
And
right.
see, and so have I. And see, that's the thing. That's the problem with me because so have I. But over the past about a year and a half, honestly, I've been paying consistently because I have not been playing my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I've been on my Xbox.
Yeah, it's become
You know?
less important. It's like then
Yeah.
you see the PS Plus games for that month, and you're like, damn it, you know?
Right. And see, that's when I'll pay. You know, that's worth $10 to $15. You know, but even today, like my buddies call me up because two of my closest friends, you know, they PlayStation, they bleed PlayStation, they love PlayStation, they have an Xbox, but everything's on PlayStation. You got to play with them on PlayStation or whatever. That's beneficial to them because that's what they play everything on. That's where they buy everything on. You know, a buddy of mine, he was talking about he bought the Series X and he played it for like the first week or so, and that was it. Like he went months before he even turned it back on. For me, I'm kind of with that with PlayStation. Like I'll play a game on PlayStation, but then once I complete it and beat it, I won't touch my PlayStation until the next title come out.
Right.
You know, so it's like that's why I don't pay the PlayStation Plus like that all the time. And you know, sometimes I'll renew and I'll forget it, but for the most part, no, I don't pay it monthly because again, I don't use it monthly. Versus my Xbox now, I just downloaded a ton of games. You know, I was just on the couch with my son the other day, you know, going over games he should try, and I'm like, oh, you know, this is the cloud right here. So you ain't got to download. You see it.
Dude,
you know,
we had the same experience the other day, man. 100%.
Yeah, you know, so it's like, man, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's like my Xbox Ultimate bill is just as important as my DTE bill, my electric bill. You know, it come out, I pay no attention. I don't mind when it come out when it's due or whatever. Like, you know, auto renew everything, auto pay, whatever. Like, I don't mind it, but it's like get that alert, you know, from PlayStation. It's like, oh, damn it, I renewed that. I don't even play the thing.
I hear you, man. It makes a lot of sense. Like I'm just wondering. I hope because I want them to succeed with the service because competition is great, right?
Yeah.
And but like so then I think about most of the focal point of these games that I love on PlayStation right now are single player focused, and if that's the primary content going forward, it's not really as because there's less variety, to be honest, right? It's not it doesn't make as much sense for a service right like that, but then like I want the service to create more variety. Right? That's my ultimate goal, and I want that to them to start. They got one foot. They're gonna have one foot in the water, and we'll know more details, right? We don't know all the details right now. They got to come out and actually make an official announcement, and we got to see the marketing material and all these things about what's in the service. But like eventually, I want them to start dipping that second toe in that water and adding some stuff day one to make it more valuable for the consumer and make it more essential for me, right?
I could see them doing like a limited time demo, like a couple of hours worth of God of War or something like
10-hour
that.
trials, you know?
Yeah.
Like EA Play.
I think that would be a hit. That would be a hit.
Because the big thing for me, there's some games that I'm not going to even bother paying for buying on PlayStation, and the same thing could be true about on Xbox. But the big difference was with Game Pass, like Psychonauts 2. I'll be honest, I was not looking to purchase that or pick that up. Played it, enjoyed it, and I wound up purchasing it. Yes, I know it stays in the service, but it's a game that who knows. 2 or 3 years from now, I'm gonna have the service, but I still have the game at least.
Yeah.
But
Fuzzy, there's nothing wrong with that because you know, like man said, I was doing the same thing. Like I was thinking about buying Halo. You know, look how many people bought that premium edition for Forza. Like,
oh yeah, I'm one.
Yeah, all three of us is, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
I
don't.
hope PlayStation does something similar, because things like Demon Souls, because it's a Dark Souls type game, I'm not even going to bother giving it a try. But having it in a service like that, I might give it a try and find out it's not as, intimidating as I thought it was. Like,
Right.
example, Hades was like that for me. I'm not usually the roguelike type, gamer, and figure, oh, it's in Game Pass, let me try it. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Was able
Mhm.
to, I guess, make it all the way through on my fifth or sixth try, and then I was like, "Yep, I'm buying this." It opened me up to a lot more games. Now I wound up buying Death's Door, just based on Hades, which I probably shouldn't have done. But Death's Door is still a good game. It's just a little bit longer combat pacing in comparison, which I'm not as much of a fan of, but still enjoyable. But having something like that on PlayStation, like they really need to just break that seal, just hop in the pool instead of dipping their toe
Mhm.
and do the day and date, even if it's like a trial thing, like, oh, I get 5 hours or 6 hours. Although I understand they're probably like, well, some people could probably speed run the game in 5 or 6 hours, but people that are going to speed run the game are going to do that anyway and probably take it back to GameStop or something anyway. So I wouldn't worry about that particular situation, but just have a trial, let people try it out, and then they might find that more people are buying games that they wouldn't have bothered with, especially if they're looking like to up that attachment rate to Nintendo's level.
Yeah.
This might be their easier in.
Yeah. It could be, and they're kind of. It's like almost the Switch model, right? With Nintendo Online, except a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that premium version of what the Nintendo model is in a way. Yeah, more than it is even almost Game Pass, right? Because Nintendo just they have those that back compat. That's the primary reason to get Switch Online. You know, um, especially with that extra tier in the 64 games and the Genesis stuff and all that,
Mhm.
right? That's pretty much like what that's the only difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this sounds kind of the same, where the main difference on the last tier is back compat.
And
I just
I
not a
think
huge fan of that
PlayStation.
compared to what Xbox does with back compat. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, even today, Xbox definitely set the bar high. You know, just off the frame boost alone. Frame boost alone. Whoever knew you needed it?
Yeah,
Whoever knew that?
dude, these games feel new
Now it's
sometimes,
like,
bro. Like it's crazy.
yeah. So it's like PlayStation, man, and it's gonna sound like I am a PlayStation lover when I say this. Although I tell people all the time, I'm a gamer first, and then I'm an Xbox player second. Like I'm not a PlayStation fan, I'm not an Xbox fan. I'm a gamer first.
Yeah.
Then I go to my consoles, like because I own all three, I play all three. I lied. I don't play my Switch, but it's here. It's here. It's in the house. But I just feel like if PlayStation come out swinging with back compat with something
Yeah.
to compete with first, it's like because PlayStation been out not long as Nintendo, but
Hmm.
definitely longer than Xbox. Like, Xbox came out when it was already on the PlayStation 2. Like, so it's so many games on the PlayStation they have, and if they just drop something to compete with what Xbox have, I think Xbox might be in trouble at some aspects because again, this is games we grew up off of. Yeah, it's fun playing Mario and Zelda. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Duck Hunt and all that, but you really think about when you became a hardcore gamer, chances are it started on a PlayStation platform. It ain't about who did it the best, who's doing it the best now. It's where did it start?
Yeah.
And for me, the original PlayStation, I freaking fell in love. Hours and hours I poured into Tekken, Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
freaking Metal Gear. It's like, man, PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy. Today, I still repurchase Final Fantasy 7 every time it drops. Like, that's when I really became a gamer. I had all the consoles, I had them all, but to really fall in love with video games, it started with the original PlayStation. So
What
they
was
need to
the
come
first
out.
PlayStation game you played? Do you remember?
Tekken.
Tekken?
Tekken. Yes. Yes. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tekken was huge, man. Me and my friends played the crap out of that. What about you, Fuzzy? Do you remember the first PlayStation game you played?
Whew, that's a tough one because I know, as silly as it sounds, it was like my start with PlayStation, and it quickly ended when I saw what things were like on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say NASCAR because Papyrus had both on PC and on PlayStation. They have a NASCAR game, so there was a NASCAR game at the time. I guess it was like 1999 NASCAR or something like that. And then there was Die Hard, which
Mm-hmm.
I break out my PlayStation 1 every now and then to play the Die Hard game. Just there's something about that game
I
that
forgot
I
about Die
wish
Hard.
that they still had. But yeah, I think it was between Die Hard and NASCAR. Those are my two first PlayStation games. And this being a big Sega kid, those were like the things that I at that point I gave up on Sega having, anything beyond the Saturn. I think at that point I didn't even bother with the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I think so mine first I remember the first game I put in was Ridge Racer.
Mm.
I think it came bundled either with the console or was like on a like a demo disc that came with the console of like experiences, and that
Mhm.
was like when you experience that gaming for the first time was different because it was like the first like disc based game that was console that was popular, in the households,
Yeah.
right? Because before that, I think you had things like the 3DO, like nobody owned, right? But like they were out there,
Yeah.
I remember playing that and stuff at like electronic stores, we had this store called Incredible Universe that had like all of those one-off consoles that all failed and were crazy expensive and nobody could get, like the 3DO. They had the Jaguar 64. You remember that?
Yeah.
They had a couple other things up there. I don't even remember all the names on them.
Neo Geo.
Yeah. And I remember they had like a demo on one of them on the 3DO of Need for Speed. So they had like the Need for Speed on the 3DO
Mhm.
playing on a big screen TV in this superstore. So you could go up there and you could just play. And that was my first experience ever playing like this style of game, which was like new at the time, right? Like in the mid 90s, we had only seen really like, 16-bit graphics, 8-bit graphics, and I don't remember if the 64 was out yet at that time.
I don't think
It was
so.
right
Like,
around that time when
mm,
it ended up coming out. But and when I finally got the PlayStation and put it in, played Ridge Racer, and still like you think of like now today like Ridge Racer, you know what I mean? Like yeah, it was cool, but oh my god, it was so like fast, 3D graphics, and all this stuff. So yeah, you're right. Nostalgia wise, it holds a huge place. Like one of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics.
mm.
Playing
Yep.
that on the PS1. There's a rumor that that's being remastered. Hey, wouldn't that be cool if the rumored remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics was a day and date launch on this new PlayStation service?
Yeah.
That would do numbers. That would do numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be
just
a way to hook people into signing up right away.
what if that's a way of like going out and making deals with your partners, right? Because if you like Final
Because
Fantasy Tactics to me is synonymous. I know that they've had like the stuff on Nintendo like with the what was it, the lion thing, or I forget, like it sucked. I didn't like it. And then they have that on mobile and stuff, but like they actually come out with a true like remaster or sequel eventually to Final Fantasy Tactics. To me, that's like almost synonymous with PlayStation, right? Of course I would love to have it on
Mhm.
Xbox, but it would make a lot of sense to have in
that
a
would be
service like that.
big. That would be big if they did. I mean, because think about it. Yesterday, they just released that update, the Final Fantasy update. Is it in something? Not in game. It's like in walk or something like that. For the people that play the Final Fantasy online, like they
Yeah,
just
I don't know. Like a Final
released.
Fantasy 14.
Well, PlayStation had like their own online Final Fantasy online type deal
Yeah, they had
or
Final Fantasy
whatever.
11 online, and that came out to Xbox 360 as well. But they also have Final Fantasy 14 online now, and that's
Yeah, so
eventually
Final
hopefully coming
Fantasy
to Xbox.
14,
But
but they just came out with their new DLC. I want to say yesterday,
oh, okay.
for the people that pre-ordered it early or whatever, they got a chance to play. So now I've been seeing a lot of people playing and talking about it, and a lot of people have purchased it to play early because it's a Final Fantasy game.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying would be huge, huge if they did some type of remaster, remake, or anything like that and add it into this new service. Because the Final Fantasy, don't get it wrong, Final Fantasy, they strong out here. There's a lot of Final Fantasy lovers out here. They
Mm-hmm.
strong out here.
The Final Fantasy 7 remake was massive. You know, like it really popular.
Yeah.
Those Square JRPGs are, I mean, those I grew up on those. You know, like there's so many of them. I mean, there's always like, hey, the box art always looked the same. You know, they always had like the white background with like the really cool looking logo. You know, with white with
Mm-hmm.
black letters and some colorful art behind it. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think there's a lot of potential for this now. They've kind of been stuck in this like PS Now, PS Plus phase. They're restructuring, and I can't wait to find out more details. I think that it's definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on, and I hope they get it right and adds enough value to the service to make it more of a competitor with Game Pass than it is now. So, besides that, guys, because we went on that topic.
Sorry, Chad.
It's a big one, you know, like it's a big topic. I know I got at least one big time Battlefield fan here, and Battlefield's had its issues at launch. Battlefield 2042. Personally, I've enjoyed my time with it. I think the last gen versions, and as well as there's a lot of people that have had a lot of issues with it, some more than others. For me, I've had minor issues, especially the loadout bug. It's got to go. But the game is not doing well compared to expectations. We've seen a exodus of some high ups from Dice and EA now, and we've seen EA now turn over the entire Battlefield franchise to none other than one of the best first-person shooter creators of all time, the man who created Medal of Honor. Not alone. I'm going to make sure I point that out. Also, Call of Duty, Titanfall, Titanfall 2, Apex Legends. This is not a shooter, but also Jedi Fallen Order. The Medal of Honor VR experience, which had a documentary in it, which they won an Oscar for. The turning over the keys to the entire Battlefield franchise to Vince Zampella. And Vince Zampella is now in charge of the Battlefield universe, which is a new adventure where they are going to be expanding what Battlefield is beyond just the traditional game, looking to expand into other games involving more storytelling, and going as far as they had hired Marcus Leto, who is one of the founders of Halo, to create a new studio focusing on storytelling in the Battlefield universe and new games as well. So this is a huge start and a refresh going forward, and a reinvestment where we thought, okay, what's going to happen? Is Dice going to be done, or like what's going to happen with Battlefield if they don't succeed? Well, it turns out EA is saying, hey, we're going to restructure, take a look and refocus and reinvest and make it bigger than ever before, which is kind of honestly a surprise. But Key, I know you're a Battlefield fan, man. How do you feel about Vince Zampella taking the reins of the Battlefield franchise?
The whole time you was talking, I was just smiling,
Yeah.
daydreaming, thinking about what it can be. I think this is it's always sad to see, people being moved around the company, losing positions or whatnot. But this is a need. This is a need right here because I love Battlefield. I haven't played it in like 2 weeks due to my work schedule. But
Yeah.
honestly, when I did play it, we streamed it together. I was on the game with you. When you streamed it, it's like, we both streamed down the midnight release. Honestly, I didn't have any problems like that.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems. I get on Twitter, I see people showing, like all type of bugs and issues and close up on the character faces where it looked like a PlayStation 2 game. Like it was just crazy, but I can't speak for them because I think a lot of them are PC players as well,
hmm
you know. But again, whether you
And maybe
PC,
last
Xbox,
gen as well, because it's a different version of the game.
right?
PS4,
I was about
Xbox
to say
One,
that, like Xbox One, PlayStation 4, like
base
regardless of
consoles.
you bought this game to play, and it should have been running the way
hmm
that you at least halfway imagine on it. Right. And so to see the switch over, I'm like, man, Battlefield is about to be huge. 2 years from now, I can definitely see this Battlefield being one of the biggest battlefields out there, just based off of Apex. Yeah, Titanfall, we all want a Titanfall 3. We all keep saying we want a Titanfall 3. But the chain and the voice is not that loud because of Apex and what Apex been doing, which is
hmm
great things. And now you can't say Fortnite without saying Apex and Call of Duty. Like that's how big it has became, So I think I think this will be a big, 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 big success in the future if you know they gave him the keys, do what you need to do to make it successful. If he worked his magic, yes, it will be successful. And I just want to throw this out here with the story because I did see that. That's something else that caught my attention. I felt like right now is the best time, the best chance we have to even getting some type of Bad Company remaster remake. This would be the time now,
Yeah.
because they are focusing on story based driven now. Because again, that's what people want. Why? I don't know. Because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna buy the game, you're gonna play the story, and the rest of the years you're gonna be on multiplayer. But I think it'll be pretty dope if they come out with a story and they just give it out to the people that already purchased the game. Just give it to us.
Yeah.
You don't have to rebuy it. Just give it to us,
That'd be
and that
interesting.
will
That's a good
awesome.
thought, actually. Like a way to win back some fans and bring in new players. A big update that has a campaign to it.
Yeah,
You know.
a campaign or some type of, and when you say story driven, it's like if you really think about it, you mentioned it earlier with Fortnite. Fortnite actually told a story if
hmm
you really sit down and think about it.
It doesn't
You
make
watch
any
the
damn
map,
sense, but
people
yeah.
all it makes zero sense, but
Yeah.
zero sense, but they still told a story,
hmm
and I think Battlefield could do something like this or even make it better, drop chapters, things like that. Like I think if they do something on the pace of that to win people back, that would be huge. That would be huge.
Yeah.
Because when the story broke, I did read a little bit on it, about story based in the future, how they really, really confident about the future of Battlefield. But then also I've been seeing a lot of backlash because of the scheme. One of the schemes with the Santa Claus, I've been getting all type of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
People like, well, now we got to buy this skin or whatnot. But still, if you think about it, people buy skins all the time for Call of Duty. I didn't get that, but
Yeah.
regardless of, there's so much potential, so much things they can do with the characters and how they look, how they dress, how they sound, the vehicles. You know, even to this new map they talking about, that's supposed to be only 64 players. Is not as big as the other maps, but it's supposed to be something fun, something chaotic, more chaotic, which is a plus for me. Because sometimes I do feel like Battlefield maps can be too big, but
Yeah.
I think they're doing good. I think they're going in the right direction. And I just feel like right now I got two of the best people in place. Why not drop events? Why not come up with some type of story, you know, or just come out with a whole complete game and just give it to the people that already purchased Battlefield? Because then also people would go out and buy Battlefield. Hell, even drop the price on it, you know, drop it down to $39.99. People will go out and buy it because we never knew people wanted a story-based Battlefield game up until now. There's always multiplayer.
But what I think will happen too, Key, is with the EA Play and Game Pass, I think that they're not going to wait as long as they would have otherwise to drop it into EA Play, right? You know, like some games they wait almost a year. You know, some games they wait 6 months. I could see Battlefield going in there like 3 months from now, potentially.
Oh yeah, and even today, you know, that would be a big win because people want to buy people want to play. People want to play Battlefield, but they just don't want to buy it just for multiplayer. But again, they're going back to that service-based thing. You know, you drop that in some type of service. Now they're gonna they will pay $10-$15 before they pay $70 or $100. You know, in our case. So I think the future of Battlefield is looking really good, really good. And, because we still never get the Battle Royale. We never still got information on it. We just know it's coming out next year.
Well, they got that other mode that's like kind of like a Battle Royale, but it's like not as well. But like it's kind of
the Escape from Tarkov kind of thing.
Yeah, you go and extract stuff, but you can just kind of leave the game whenever. It's kind of that's a kind of weird thing for me. But hey, Fuzzy, did this like catch you by surprise? Were you thinking like a lot of people were worried about Battlefield, like what was going to happen to the franchise? Were they going to kind of start to kind of move on because they, you know, the main developer kept failing, you know, and failed to live up to expectations and stuff? But it seems like this is like the EA of old may have just shuttered the studio and like, you know, it seems like a completely drastic shift from the old EA with this move, you know.
I don't want to necessarily overcredit Vincent Pella, but I think he probably had something to do with it in the sense he probably called some things prior to the launch that caused them to react the way they did. Because it seems like it was almost like this was a plan B. They were like, oh yeah, we heard your concerns. We'll try it our normal way, and if it fails, then we'll call you. And it seemed like they were like, oh crap, you're right again. Here's the keys. Just fix this for us, please. Again, you know. I think if he gets one more fix in the EA, you know, office space, just give him the CEO chair and be done with the current EA regime. Make him in charge of all of EA at that point. But yeah,
I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
Oh yeah, because it seems like he's changed the culture there. Like you said, this would have old EA would have shut the doors. They would have, you know, given people pink slips before the holidays, and we'd be wondering, well, why didn't anybody buy the game? Or why is that studio going under? And it's like, you know, it's EA being EA at that point with them closing stuff. But I'm glad that Vince got the call. I'm glad he's going to have the keys now. Considering what he's done with Apex, considering what he's done with Titanfall, even though, yes, we don't have a Titanfall 3, they cannot confirm or deny, that one is in the works type of thing. But I would have to believe if he's going to be in charge, he's probably going to leave some room for something like that to be worked on. The only fear is that he's going to be stretched a little thin, considering he's pretty much running like a third of the company now, or in charge of a third of the big IPs there. So I just hope overall they give him the room and the leeway and continue to listen to him. But I think the big thing now is I haven't dived into Battlefield just because I'm so into Forza right now, but I'm hearing a lot of people have been having more fun with the Portal end of it as opposed to the main part of the game where your progression is counted type of deal. They have some minor bugs, but what game doesn't have bugs at this point? But
they count your progression in Portal as well, and but the thing is, like, none of it. There's so much less progression than normal because they don't count a lot of tasks that they used to. Like, a lot of things are only 50 XP that used to be worth more, or like you take out a tank, right? You get 50 XP, right? So there's like a lot of things like that are kind of like it's just kind of missing. But for me, Buzzy, like that's not why I play. Like I always leave these like level up progression systems and stuff. They're always just kind of in the background for me. And I'm like, oh, cool. I unlocked a gun. I unlocked an attachment. I never go and like, what do I need to do? How many levels can I get up today? Except for Halo's the only one.
Halo, I was about to say lies. Man, just telling lies.
No, I know, but Halo is the only one now, which is weird. Everybody's complaining about that progression system and that stuff, but it's the only one that I've ever really been into that I'm actually like really trying to get this. You know what? I take it back too. Shit. Apex Legends had that for me. Right at launch. I was really trying to get like but that system was still broken because like I leveled up in like to max level in like 3 or 4 weeks and then you couldn't progress anymore. But like I was really into it, But besides that, like the progression systems are kind of like they don't have the XP right and you don't get rewarded as much as you usually do. But it does count in Portal because I was just playing it and I was getting XP and stuff. And I gained some levels, right? I think maybe it depends on what you play and how. And I think even bots count. I think even if you play against bots, I'm not sure though. Gotta double check.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty sure because me and Pong were rolling around destroying. Like I had the server going. And people were joining.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and like, but because the server was new, like we had it filled with bots until people got in, And we rolled around in this tank, and we were like killed like 30 people in a row. It was insane because they were like bots, and we were just like racking up the XP, dude. It was insane. Anyway, go ahead.
How do you guys feel about? Oh yeah, go. I have a question, but go ahead, Fuzzy.
No, go ahead.
I'm about to say, how you guys also feel about the fact of I forget who said it, but then they mentioned that 70% of players not even playing Battlefield now.
Yeah,
that dropped off. Yeah, because we already know it's the most negative rated game on Steam. Which, good God,
it ain't that bad.
Shit.
I don't know. Like it's crazy, man. Man, we can get into a lot of this stuff. Like I'm gonna have a stream where I talk about this stuff just specifically, right? Like I'm just gonna go in because this stuff keeps coming up, but like with Halo, with Battlefield especially, and with other games too, it's like this piggybacking attack thing. It like sometimes warranted for certain issues, right? But like, man, it can cause a detriment, the attitude, right, and from the gamer, you know what I mean? And the way that people act sometimes about silly stuff, right? They make them into these huge deals. Act like it's the biggest thing in the world, that these things, I'm not getting my XP for this. Or, I'm not, oh my God, this is the worst. I can't change the color of this. Like, oh my God, this is trash. I'm going to install on this piece. You know what I mean? Like, and then they
Yeah.
go and they post stuff on Twitter and social media and talk about how trash of a game this or that is. You know what I mean? That stuff spreads, and it spreads into people that have never played the game start echoing the same message,
Right.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
then deters
I'm
other
rooting for
people
you.
from
Make that
even
video.
trying.
Make that video because you're absolutely right. In this word of mouth go a long way.
Yeah.
And I agree with you 100% because I think it's just crazy. Like, how can y'all be so negative and dragging a name through the mud?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't play.
Here's an example, right?
Probably only watched one trailer.
Let's say you got this new restaurant that opened up in this neighborhood, right? Did these people invest their life savings into this restaurant, right? They open it up, right? They have this whole big shebang, okay? They got a double mortgage on their house. They spent 10 years saving up for this. Everything is on the line on this new restaurant, right? They have some opening issues, right? At their launch, okay? They're trying to work out the kinks. They got some issues going on. A couple people get cold food. As one person gets food poisoning 2 weeks later, right? One person out of like 1,000 that have been there, right? Or let's say that you get like a waitress drops food on somebody, okay? But 80% of people are having a great time, enjoying their food, all this stuff, and then the service and everything continues to get better, right? These people in this trying this new thing with everything, right? But then the couple people that had the worst experience are the loudest and go to review sites. They start going to social media. They start going to all this, and then permeates to people start saying, yeah, that place is trash. Don't go there where they've never been there before. You know what I mean? And it spreads throughout this whole town. And guess what? Restaurant closes. You know what I mean? Like this is the same thing with that, with like a lot of things where they're like, okay, people need to judge things for themselves. Now, granted, $70 is a high asking price to try something for yourself, right? But they did have a 10-hour trial. Okay. So anybody that is questioning whether you should play Battlefield before piling on Steam and leaving reviews, before going to social media, leaving reviews, before all of these other things, right? Try the 10-hour trial. See what you think yourself, right? And if you have one or two bugs and the rest of the game is great, don't only focus on those one or two things, because guess what? Every game has a couple of bugs here and there. Halo has it. Battlefield has it. Call of Duty has it. There's a lot of lacking things, but the ultra focus on negative is insane to me. In the gaming community, it's not just the gaming community. It's gaming media. It's journalists, social media. Everybody focuses on negative, and you can have 90% of something you're enjoying the crap out of, and 90% of the words that come out of your mouth are negative, right?
Yep.
It doesn't add up. So anyway, go ahead.
But you know what? Let me just say this right quick, because of course the people that did play the game, they complain about the bugs and stuff like that. And with me, I always look at both sides, of the railroad track here. I always look at what it could be, but why it's not, and man, understandable with it. People got to realize people are still working from home. They just not getting into the office. You know, like there's still limitations there up until certain points. You know, plus Battlefield. I mean, Battlefield. They always have glitches and stuff. But again, people need to realize like people are still working from home.
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was saying like this Battlefield is worse than Cyberpunk, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. And the reason I said that is because Cyberpunk was in the making for like 7 years. You know, Cyberpunk was in the, if anything, it should have ran flawless on Xbox One and the PS4. And not, you know, well, I ain't gonna say the other way around because it still ran like crap. But what I'm saying is, this game was in the making for 7 to 8 years. Battlefield, they started making it. The world, shit hit the fan with the world. People working from home now. They're trying to, you know, figure out how to do this and do that. And it's like, you know, it's different. It's different. And I agree with you 100%. You know, people, oh, my helicopter disappeared when I was playing the game and I was still floating in the air. Oh, this game is trash. And it's like,
yeah.
But yet you finished the match. You know, you didn't pause, quit, uninstall. Like you didn't do that. You finished the match and you probably played a couple more, you know. But it's like y'all took that negative part and ran with it.
It's like a herd mentality too, man. It's like people want to do what they like. What everybody else is saying isn't cool. What everybody else is saying is cool, right? And it's like piggybacking off of the same conversation that everybody else has, and then because other people are talking about it, you start paying more attention to it and ultra focusing on that. You know what I mean?
It's a pylon.
It's a pylon effect, yeah.
Yep, there you go. So it's like when people do talk negative, and you know, and I'm not here to sell the game. I'm not. Everybody had their opinions, you know. Everybody had their opinions. That's what I love about the community. You know, streaming, being on the podcast, because we're just sharing our opinions as gamers, and you know, no arguments. We're just sharing our opinions, talk about it, and keep it going to the next topic. But I just feel like, particularly with Battlefield, it's like, man, people are just out to destroy Battlefield at this point. And it's like, why? Because of one glitch, two glitches, like, you know, because you get in the elevator and you fell through, so the game is trash. Like, I remember playing Cyberpunk and I couldn't even drive a car. I had to walk everywhere because every time I got in the car, it would just sink into the cement. So I couldn't even drive a car. I played like 3 hours of that game walking. Like, I couldn't even drive a freaking car. You know, one time I was driving, all of a sudden it just smacked in dead air, just complete came into a stop, and then all of a sudden all these cars started piling up in front of me. Like I couldn't even drive. Now that's to the point where you can't play it because you need to drive in that particular game to get to where you need to go. Walking everywhere is not the way to do it. Now that is a game that's, I can't play this. This is unbearable. You know, this is ridiculous. I can't enjoy the game because I got to spend 15 minutes walking to talk to one person, then another 15 minutes walking to deliver an item. That right there is unacceptable for me. But if I'm having fun playing the game and my gun just happened to disappear, okay. You know, I'm pulling the trigger, I'm still shooting. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
but
it sucks, right?
Not,
like, does it ruin?
yeah.
How much does it ruin your fun? Are you able to get into the next game, and is it fine? You know what I mean, or is it like
yeah? Because when you die, it reappears.
Right.
Correct. So I'm with you on that. Like I do get, you know, kind of upset. Like I said, not defending the game, but I just feel like people are dragging Battlefield through the mud, and you don't have to because, again, this is not a Cyberpunk situation where people can't even play the game. They spent money $60, whatever, and can't play it.
Yeah.
Like you can still play it. It's bugs, a couple updates, things like that. They resolve, like they said, they changing seats and they have big plans. Like they really putting their all into this game because the community is out there that the Battlefield can blow up more than, and it did, honestly. When this gen came out, people was talking about Battlefield. People weren't talking about Call of Duty as much. People was talking about Battlefield. Oh my God, Battlefield! Look at Battlefield! Oh my God, look at the like Battlefield have a healthy community. Just to see people that don't play the game or hearing their buddies saying it's trash and running with that, it just bothers me. It bothers me big time.
Yeah.
Play the game yourself.
Have you played Battlefield at all, Fuzz?
Just the demo prior. Like I have it already on my hard drive, but
that was bad,
Yeah. But I figured there was going to be probably a grace period since I had already pre-ordered it. It was like, I figured there was going to be a grace period where it's going to have some issues. And since I'm kind of tolerating the issues with Forza, I was like, you know what, by the time I come back to it, it'll probably be, smooth as butter at that point. But I just kind of looked at a lot of the stuff where the people were having issues with the planes going through the buildings and things like that. It's like, okay, until that gets fixed, I can understand how some people can be upset, but I'm not too concerned. But considering that 70% of the player base is kind of left, that part is concerning. But hopefully they return when everything is agreed upon, that it's finally a fixed and polished game at that point, which probably won't be too far along from now. But
every Battlefield has launched with a lot of issues, right? Like, and guess what? Like, just like Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1 Fuzz, like they turned out to be some good experiences down the line, right? And so that's another positive. Are you thinking like Vincent Pella is going to have a huge transformation on Battlefield, Fuzzy? Or do you think it's going to be like keep the core aspects intact and just kind of like make sure everything's running right?
I think it's going to be a bit of both of those, where he's going to keep the core aspects that everybody enjoys about the game, make sure everything is kind of fleshed out as far as the bugs, kind of like he seems to be good as far as organizing the team on where to focus. So he'll probably have the right people in the right place to task on a lot of the bug fixes and things like that. And then as far as like the Battlefield universe or the new lore and stuff like that, if he's going to be, since he's going to be involved with that as well, I think the big thing he'll have is how the story well, not necessarily the story pacing, but how everything will kind of mesh together, whether they go back to a World War I or World War II style, or current day or modern warfare or future warfare, kind of like what this is, kind of, sort of. But I think his big thing is going to be to make sure it works. If Frostbite engine is the issue, I could see him eventually, pushing the buttons behind the scenes.
Always been an issue, hasn't it?
I can see him pushing the buttons to get that possibly changed out. Maybe not for this current game, obviously, but for future games moving forward. I could see him possibly either like, hey, we need to work with Epic and Unreal, or we need to build something closer to Unreal and less like Frostbite going forward. But I think that's going to be probably his biggest tackling job first, as far as just making sure, get everybody back to playing, get everything kind of fixed, smooth, working like it most of their EA games have been doing, months after launch. Like look at Battlefront 1 and 2 after a lot of the updates and patches and whatnot. So I think that will be probably the first task. And then, the future content, whether it's, not doing Santa outfits in Battlefield, which for me wasn't, I mean, I'm not going to, well, it's funny. Like things like skins are one of those things where it's like immersion breaking sometimes, and other times it's like, you know what, it's a fun part of the year, have at it type of deal. I think he'll probably make it so it's more in touch with what the fan base wants overall, as opposed to, possibly chasing trends like some of the, battle royales do with the Fortnite like skins and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think he's just going to kind of bring it back to basics, get it to where the fan base is happy, and it can, attract, new fans that may not be familiar with Battlefield, and, may have heard the previous grumblings of the bugs and glitches, and seeing that all that's fixed and whatnot, and, hopefully getting the player base back to a normal amount.
Which I think, like every Battlefield before it's come back, right? Like it may not come back to where it was like immediately concurrent on day one, you know what I mean, or day two when the excitement's at its highest. But these games like before, like Battlefield's been through this many times. You know, it's like people
Right.
the thing is different with this one is even though the game honestly launched in arguably a more playable state than any Battlefield that I've played in the last 15 years, it's been piled on the most, right?
Yeah.
In reviews from media and also from users and stuff. And the crazy thing is, hey, guess what? This one was actually playable at launch. Which if you're a Battlefield veteran, you know that the experience you're kind of used to is, hey, we're working on getting servers up because we're surprised about the player count has exceeded our expectations. And you go for like 2 days without even really being able to get into a game, and when you do, the lag is crazy and horrible. Plus, you add on the glitches that always exist at launch and the bugs. And this has had the bugs and lack of content within the game. And not what I mean by lack of content, I'm not talking about campaign. I'm talking about like some of the gun options and stuff in Portal are a little low right now, right? Some of those options, like if you pick Bad Company, you don't have like the full suite of guns, right? You have like a few to choose from. And I feel that stuff is like kind of smaller, but there's also crazy thing is if you look at every Battlefield at launch, besides the campaign, multiplayer wise, there's more content in this game than any other Battlefield has ever released with. Because you have all of the Portal stuff, plus you have the main game, right? And so you're getting the experience of Bad Company 2. You're getting the experience of Battlefield 3. You're getting experience of Battlefield 1942. You get all of those games are in Portal. And you get all of that content. You get all those maps. Plus you get the new maps. We're used to only getting 5 maps or so at launch on a Battlefield game.
Yep.
And so like there's a complaint about overall lack of content, which I understand some of that, like I said. It's just they're focusing on certain key things that are missing that other Battlefield games have had before. Not focusing on all of the other things we've never had gotten to play before, like 128 players online. That actually works. Could you imagine back in Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 days, having matches where you could say we're going to play with 128 players online and actually have the servers function properly?
Absolutely not.
I think
amazing.
4, wasn't it 32? And then I think because of the PS4 and stuff, they were going to say, oh, it's like 60 something. And I don't think it worked right for like a couple of months, right?
Yeah, the games had issues for even like ongoing. They had issues, right? Again, different era. That's back in the 360 era. I mean, a lot of games servers were kind of trash back then, you know. But man, it's just kind of like let's focus ultrally on the negative aspects and pile on to everything right now. And it's gotten worse than it's ever been before in gaming. I think players have realized how much of an impact their voice has So they feel like if we all team up together and pile on with this, we're going to get change. Not realizing also they could potentially be destroying the thing that they love. That's where I, kind of, I don't know. It's happened before. We'll see. The good thing is EA didn't fold on this, right? They didn't cower. They had the proper response. They're doubling back down on investment and going to come out and reinvest into it. And so maybe in this case, the players got it right with that. But it could have 100% gone the other way. And I'm glad it did.
Let me ask you, y'all. This is kind of not off topic, but it is. Why do you guys think that Call of Duty Cold War did not get this much hate when they released last year?
Everybody ignored it, man. I still can't play through the
To
campaign.
the point, yeah, like it was literally breaking your console.
Yeah, I can't play.
Glitch. So it's like, why Call of Duty did not get this much hate and anger, and it just be things like that. I always sit back and think, like,
people pick and choose, man. It's whatever's cool to get to pile on at the moment, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's so many examples that you can point to, games that have had serious issues. Watch Dogs Legion at launch was a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Like it was a mess. There's crazy bugs everywhere. I was swimming through boats, right? I couldn't get on a boat because it didn't actually exist. It was just a fucking mirage, right? Like there's like crazy stuff, the game glitching, game crashing all the time. Nobody said a word.
Not saving.
Yeah, not saving. All the progression issues. You had hundreds of hours lost of progress. And then the Cyberpunk comes out and like last gen players have issues with frame rate, and it's like they have to offer refunds. You have like lawsuits everywhere. You know what I mean? Like Battlefield has issues, and it's like everybody. It's like it's certain things like people choose to herd in and pile on to some certain topics. It's very interesting. It's a human thing. It's not a video game thing specifically. Yeah. It's a human nature thing, and it people don't realize it kind of sometimes it can have a negative effect. Sometimes it can have good. We're not trying to protect billion-dollar, million-dollar companies, but sometimes even those can suffer when things go bad, and it can be a detriment. Like I don't want people's negativity to cause a detriment to my enjoyment of something because it goes away. Right. That's where it is. But hey, Buzzy, I want to get your take on something else before you got to go, because I know you got to get to the shop. Halo Infinite is coming.
Yeah.
It's 4 days away. 4 days away. I hope we don't see a repeat of this herd mentality when the campaign launches. We'll see. I want everybody to have their own actual opinions. If you have criticisms, give them. If you have positivity, give it, right? If you have feedback, give it, right? I want to know, what are you excited most about this campaign dropping, or are you excited at all?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited. Like my biggest thing is I'm one of the few that's fairly new to Halo, and I kind of enjoyed Halo 5 and played through the campaign. And I understand, for the long-term fans where some of them had gripes with it, but it was enjoyable for me as my first Halo to kind of, get my feet wet with type of deal. Looking forward to this one. We'll definitely be tackling the campaign. I know I probably haven't been playing the multiplayer, not nearly enough, or probably not much at all because of Forza, but campaign is kind of like where I usually will start, kind of like just dive into that game and try to complete it, not necessarily as quick as possible, but go through it pretty quickly, see if there's the collectibles and well, the skulls and things like that. Although I don't think I'm going to be ready for veteran, or what is it, the night, or the hardest difficulty. I'm not doing that, but yeah, for the most part, I want to see where they take this story, considering that they've kind of done a small story rewrite, and you got Staten back in the fold, and he's going to bring some of that lore back into it, or have it, I guess, be more aligned or more congruent storytelling compared to what they may have had, prior. I'm really interested to see how this goes compared to, like, does it pick up where Halo 5 left off, and how deep it goes into that and stuff like that. Because some of the trailers definitely are emotional getting or emotion driving. So really, really anxious. Well, not anxious, but really excited to play this, next week. And man, I know pretty much no one's going to be on social media other than posting either clips or videos or pictures and stuff of gameplay. But I know a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of time playing at least their first playthrough of the campaign, and then probably save for the co-op later on when that's available. But I'm really excited to play it solo and see how the story turns but winds up. And man, looking forward to it now.
Yeah. I is that what your plans are for that week? Is just all Halo? You're gonna be like dipping in and out?
My last push for Horizon is going to be on the 7th, and then I'll probably dip into some more of Insurgency Sandstorm, and then probably from the 8th until I complete the campaign, it will be Halo. It's pretty much going for the completion of the campaign from there, and maybe some multiplayer.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest multiplayer guy for that type of shooter, but yeah, the campaign, from the 8th on, that's going to be my jam. Although there will be a break, obviously, to watch the Game Awards, but outside of that, it's going to be Halo.
Right on, man. And hey, I want to make sure you get over to shop in time. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, Fuzzy Belvedere?
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's awesome being on here with you, Mav and Key. For those that like to hear my ramblings about Forza or anything gaming related, you can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, on PSN, Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. Like I said, mainly playing Forza, but come the 8th, it'll be Halo time. And you can find me in the next 5 minutes over at the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Centurion 1307, and Pong Soul. And on Mondays, a lot of times I'm with UMAV on Tidbits. All the game releases for anything that flies under the radar. You kind of like shine a light on it, and winds up pointing out a few gems that we may have missed or forgotten about, and wind up adding to the gaming catalog of those gems and stuff. So greatly appreciate you guys. Greatly appreciate the chat. Chat was awesome. Man, I love doing this. So
it's fun, dude. It was a fun show. So I appreciate you, man. And tell PTK and Pong and Centurion and everybody over there I said hello.
All right, will do. Thanks again, guys. Y'all take care.
Yeah, have a good one, Fuzzy.
All right, have a good show, Fuzzy.
Thank you.
Hey, Key, Halo Infinite. Like your work schedule's crazy, right now. How are you gonna find the time, man? Like, you gonna be able to play? You think?
I think what's gonna have to happen is I'm gonna have to take some vacation or get sick.
Yeah. You got a mysterious cold all of a sudden.
Just all of a sudden, just I feel the cough. I feel it. Getting sweats thinking about it. No, I don't know what I'm gonna do, honestly, because it's Halo, man. My biggest thing about Halo right now, forget everything else. I just want to know what happened work or time. Like, I need to know what happened work or time more than anything. I don't care about the new enemies. Open, semi-open world, that's fine, but I need to know what happened work or time, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
there's some videos that fill in like the timeline with the like books and stuff as well. So I started watching one the other day and I kind of got sidetracked, but I'm gonna need to go back to it. Because I don't do as much of like the other media with Halo. I
Hmm.
mean, I will for TV shows and movies if they once they start coming out, but like the books and stuff, I don't really get into that. But I guess there's been some books and things that really fill in these gaps. So, and Halo Wars
Oh,
2.
really?
Halo Wars 2 has some stuff, not about Cortana, but
Hmm.
it has like about the Banished and the kind of and all that stuff. So, but yeah, check out some of those YouTube videos, man, if you want some more Cortana story because it definitely exists.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out some tonight, because I got some things I need to do, something to keep me woke. But yeah, like I can't wait to play this, and everybody was excited for multiplayer, including myself. But I wanted single player more than anything. I wanted a campaign. I didn't care that they did not add the co-op to it. I didn't care, because at the end of the day, I want to play this. I don't want to wait for my friend to get on from work, or he had to wait for me or whatever. Like, I want to play this. I want to go at this particular Halo. I want to go at my own pace. I want to play it. I really want to get deep into it. And I don't know, is because we haven't had a Halo game in a while, or it's on the Series X and the way it looks. But I'm like, really, I think I'm probably more excited about this Halo than I have any other Halo.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I love that the hype is
Just,
back for Halo, man. Because like last gen, it was gone.
yeah.
Remember, like before Halo 5 came out, there was like this like all the journalists and stuff were like, I'm just not excited for Halo anymore. I don't know what it is. That I listened to lots of podcasts
Hmm.
and stuff like from like IGN and all those like big media outlets at the time, right?
Hmm.
And it's just like there was like literally zero excitement for Halo 5 across like the mainstream media, it seemed. And it permeated through the game after it came out. You had like very like lukewarm reviews. People like, yeah, it was good, but I'm not excited. And you had some really bad ones. And it just kind of like permeated through the whole
Hmm.
generation with Xbox, even, just a lack of excitement and
Yeah.
hype. But we see that hype back for Xbox. We see that hype back for Halo. And we saw what happened with Forza. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
this is like that next big thing and they just keep riding this train, you know?
But let me ask you though, because one thing I am kind of, I don't want to compare to other games,
Mm-hmm.
because I always said, like, I want Halo to stay Halo. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I fell in love with, is Halo. So, but story wise, do you think that you can see something dramatically just, I okay, let me do it. Think of years. Think of the last years and how that ended. We had to make a choice, which I wonder how they're gonna piggyback off that when the new years come out. But again, think about that decision you had to make. You beat years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so think about, like, you either one need to be saved or one is gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
because I didn't see that coming when I was playing years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sorry for people in the chat that haven't played years. I'm sorry. I hope you played it. Been out for some time, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
That was a shock at the end.
that was a shock. So, are you kind of expecting something like this, or do you see something like this happening with Halo that would leave people on a cliffhanger? Like, oh my gosh, like your jaw hitting the ground, you gasping, like, like, what do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
can you see Halo doing it?
Well, here's the thing. I don't. People probably aren't gonna like my opinion on this, and so I want to try and answer this in a certain way because there's a lot of fear out there about the 10-year plan,
Hmm.
right? And how much game are we gonna get at launch, right? That's been a fear in the community ever since they announced this 10-year plan idea, right? And So then you go into this is like the open world Halo game. Okay. You got this big open world, which at that point, now it's not entirely open. I think there's like segments that kind of alluded to that, but like it's more open than anything. Any Halo game you've got is different structure to the way the game is going to be played than ever before, right? So inherently, that's going to add play value to it, right? It's going to add time where you have a lot of different things you can do. And inherently as well, because of the nature of Halo and the difficulty levels and the skulls and all that stuff, I think there's going to be a lot of replay value there as well. But I think story-wise, we're going to get a traditional Halo length if you only focus on the story, just because that's a lot. You got to think about how much work goes into these cutscenes and all the story and this narrative and this drama and stuff that they're doing. And I'm trying to think about like putting that in over like a 20-hour experience and doing what everything else they're doing with Halo. It's like can't really imagine that you're going to have like a 20-hour story, which so I think what we're going to see is with the 10-year plan, my hypothetical, okay, is we're going to be left at certain points that are going to be excited for you to continue the story that's going to continue to happen within Halo Infinite later on. Now, some people aren't going to like that because they want it to be complete and they aren't going to want anything because they're not used to story expansions, right? I think Halo Infinite's going to have story expansions. I really do. So I think, are they going to leave it potentially at a cliffhanger moment like you asked? I think with the idea of how they perceive Halo Infinite to be and their games as service type game and the structure of how they have it built, it makes a lot of sense to do that. Is that going to upset traditional Halo fans if they go that route? I think a lot of them may be, because they're going to wonder like, where's that complete experience if that happens? You know what I mean? But is it going to excite me? It depends on my enjoyment that I have during that campaign. Like if that happens and I have like the amazing, let's say like 8 hours, right? Plus the other 15 hours I had just roaming around doing whatever the hell I want, right?
Right.
Will that upset me if I don't have a conclusion that satisfies me? I don't know. There's going to be potentially, if this happens how I think it could, there's going to be a lot of talk probably about that, but we'll see. I mean, it could be like a 20-hour campaign, a 20-hour story. You have a complete arc from beginning to end and a culmination, right? And it could be that. With everything else that's gone on with this game, I honestly don't know if they could achieve that, So we'll see, man. Like, what do you think? Like, what like would that upset you? Like, if let's say it's like a 6 to 8 hour story, and it leaves you with the cliffhanger.
I don't think it'll upset me as much as other people,
Yeah.
Especially if it tell the story well and it makes sense to leave it on a cliffhanger. Like I don't think that would be a problem, honestly.
What if it takes like a year to get the next iteration or 2 years to get that satisfaction of that cliffhanger?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as well. Because again, and see this, for me, I like a well detailed, it makes sense type storyline, And I think Halo has actually been doing pretty good with that. But if it do come down to it where there's some type of cliffhanger, because there's a lot going on. It's a lot going on in this Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Infinite is so much going on. So we already know everything's not going to be answered next week. It's just not.
Yeah.
You know,
I think everybody wants
you
to know
know, like
that culmination with Cortana. Everybody wants a culmination with the
yeah,
Banished. Everybody, you know what I mean? They want
yep,
to know what happens on Zeta Halo. They want a culmination with that. You know, they want a culmination. Is this Chief's end? Like, you know what I mean? They like want all these answers.
yeah,
You know, I don't think we're gonna
and
get that.
we're not, and I'm okay with that. You know, because again, it leaves a space available to continue the
Mm-hmm.
franchise and to also to the point where it makes sense. I don't want this game to be rushed. And you know, back then when they first showed gameplay, everybody was upset about the gameplay, how it looked or whatnot, which of course benefited us more than anything because the game looked amazing now.
Yeah.
But the game was already completed. You know, the story was already ready. You know, written. People then beat it 2 or 3 times. You know, like it just need to be polished or whatnot at the time. But the story's done. You know, they're not working on the story; it's complete. So they already have a game plan. I feel like if it makes sense and you're not really dragging it on, but you just telling the story, a well told story, yeah, I'm okay with that. Leave me on a cliffhanger. You know, we'll revisit it a year and a half from now. You know, the next chapter or whatnot. Like, why not? Why not do it? Do it right. If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah. It kind of be like, you know, Destiny has all those story expansions that come out, right? That push it forward, you know? It seems
Yeah, and
similar in a way, you know, potentially.
that's a good example because I just seen something yesterday. A guy was like, he combined all the trailers and storytelling in Destiny, just the clips and
Mm-hmm.
the trailer, just the clips and trailers, and he posted on YouTube, and there's like a 4 hour video.
Wow.
Like, you know, it's a lot
It's like the
to it.
Snyder cut,
So
you
hey, there you go, 100%.
know?
So it's like if you're gonna tell a story, you need to tell it right, no matter how long it takes. And if it's a good story, people gonna be mad because they have to wait because you
Mm-hmm.
know that's just people. But at the same time, they're gonna be okay with waiting because it's gonna make it that much better, that much sweeter once you do get your hands on it the next go around.
Yeah. Man, people want so much from Halo. You know what I mean? Including me, I wanted everything from Halo. But it's like, I know how much enjoyment I'm going to have when I boot up that game for the first time and dive in for the first time
Hmm.
and get this experience of story. And dude, it's been a long time coming, you know? So, um,
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hope you enjoy it, man. I hope you can find the time. Get those sick
Oh yeah,
days.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. I get I got an alert talking about next year benefits, and I didn't even because I rarely take vacation and stuff like that. But
Got to use
I
those
got
sick
like
days.
a good yeah. I got a lot, so I might end up using it. I might end up using it. You know, who knows? I might not. Just have to figure it out. But I'm definitely playing it. It's going to get played, and it will be completed the same week it released. And that's for sure.
Yeah. Right on, man. Um, well, hey, chat, you guys were absolutely incredible today with all of the discussion that we've been having. Appreciate you guys so much. Lots of great conversation. As well. Hey, John TJ, appreciate the super chats. That's beyond generous. So much, and everybody, uh, whether you listen now, you're listening on audio platforms after the fact. Um, whether you just stop in and drop a like, or you tune in on demand, however you watch, or as little as much as you watch of our shows on this channel. I super appreciate all of you, 100%, and hope to see you guys again soon. Monday for tidbits. We got Wednesday Fun Pop, Thursday PM in the PM, Friday Xbox Ultimate, and here on FSP with Key and Fuzzy. And hey Key, I know you've been busy, so you haven't had a lot of content lately, but you got that new rig you're working on, getting it set up. You're gonna have stuff pumping out soon. I imagine you're gonna have some Halo content on your channel as well. Tell everybody about Gaming Key and all the stuff you got going on, bro.
Yeah, as usual, this was fun. I love just getting on here talking about games, and I always praise you for doing this. Like I love it. I love it. So thank you for keeping this going, and chat. Thank you guys as well, and yeah, this is amazing. I love it. You can find me over at my channel, Just Key, where I'm trying to revamp the entire channel going into next year. So, but definitely, you'll definitely see some Halo over there for sure. Like I said, work schedule been busy, but I'm gonna get back active. I'm gonna figure it out and just keep it moving. So you can find me over there on Twitter, Gaming Key. Same there. Haven't been as active in the past week or two, but I'm still on there trying to talk. And you guys want to say something, I always get the alerts immediately. So I'm available to talk games and whatnot. So definitely check me out there as well. And of course here on Saturdays. So thank you again. Thank you guys.
Heck yeah, man. A lot of fun. And hey, everybody, have some fun. Get some Halo multiplayer in the next few days because you're going to be playing some campaign coming up. Everybody's been, hey, what are they going to do about the multiplayer when the campaign launches? Are they going to add stuff? Guys, you're going to be playing the campaign for a while. So I don't know. I'm pumped for it, and I can't wait. I'm going to play some Battlefield tonight, I think. I was playing earlier today. I was having a blast. I think I'm going to play some more tonight. And but I hope to see you guys later. Have a good one. Everybody have a great Monday tomorrow. Or wait, no, Sunday tomorrow. What's today?
Sunday.
Saturday?
Sunday. Yep.
Yeah. Sunday tomorrow. Have a great Sunday tomorrow. Bye.
Later, everybody.